everyone and welcome to my top 10 favourite levels from Crash Bandicoot Warped. I have a small confession that's going to upset a lot of you. I prefer Crash Bandicoot 2. I'm sorry! Let me start by saying Crash Bandicoot 3 is a phenomenal game. I just enjoy Crash 2 a lot more. Crash 1 is also an incredible game. Whilst admittedly a little dated, it did start everything up and because of that should be recognised. Now, I know nostalgia will kick in with Crash 2, but let me give you a genuine reason as to why I see Crash 3 as inferior. It feels almost too childish. Now I know that the tone of the series technically hasn't changed, but hear me out. Crash 2 was a very dark game. The music was always very chilling, even in the calmest of levels. It had darker lighting, creepier atmospheres, and had a greater sense of danger. Crash 3 sends you throughout time, and to me, whilst a good concept, does send you to points where the world isn't as bleak. There are definitely areas which have a darker atmosphere, such as the prehistoric era and the future era, which we'll get to later. But regardless of that, the worlds are just too happy-go-lucky in the way they present themselves. Don't get me wrong, being a happier environment isn't a bad thing at all, but the world Crash 2 created was a sense that Cortex has for a while almost had the world wrapped around his finger, even if things weren't necessarily going his way. He and Briou's minions reigned supreme around the world, and Cortex almost succeeded in destroying the world, and the world's darker theme reflected that. Whilst the stakes are in some ways considerably worse in Crash 3, that atmosphere has been completely removed, and you don't get a huge sense of, yeah, we'll die any minute if we don't stop them. Crash 3 does do a lot with adding time trials and upgrades for Crash, but the same charm just doesn't exist. Especially when you favour the cryptic gameplay elements Crash 2 had. Maybe that's just me, and it probably is, but I wanted to somewhat explain what I see in Crash 2, what I don't in Crash 3. Coco riding Pura the tiger on the Great Wall of China at midnight. Let me repeat those words. Coco riding Pura the tiger on the Great Wall of China at midnight. What about that isn't completely epic? Midnight Run is basically a cooler version of the polar levels in Crash Bandicoot 2. What more should I say? What more can I say? Look at it! It's gorgeous to look at, has tremendous fun value, clever placements of hazards, and is Coco riding Pura the tiger on the Great Wall of China at midnight. Hell yes, Mother Bandicoot! So in that phrase, is Bandicoot their universe's way of saying fuck? Let me paint the scene for you. You're a Bandicoot. Yes, your name is Crash. You've gone back in time to the prehistoric era. You seem to have encountered a new friend. It's a fish that looks a lot like you. Dinosaurs also chase you. Duh. But you also get to ride this adorable little thing! Yes, Dino-Mite lets you ride a dinosaur. Need I say more? Hang Time is a level I really enjoy, but really don't have anything in particular I want to talk about. Do you ever have those levels that you like, but you don't really know why? That's this level. I guess it has fun platforming. The purple gem route is certainly a fun challenge. But that's all I can think of to talk about. Wow. So articulate. The medieval levels are fairly simple in their design. They don't do anything particularly special, apart from maybe having a frog turn into a prince by kissing and killing you. But Doubleheader has one enemy, interestingly enough, with two heads, which really makes me laugh every single time. If they hit you, and they will, Crash has the best death animation in the game. I can't deal with it. Deep in the sands of Egypt is a tomb containing Egyptians, mummies, monkeys, and oil slicks. If I ever have a tomb, I want it to be slathered in oil. It makes for a great platforming segment. Oh, and all the pits, monkeys, automatic doors, and all the other enemies need to be there too. What incredible technology the Egyptians had. Flamethrowers too. Yeah. Just make sure you stay away from the oil. You know that dinosaur we got to ride before? Now do it again, in 2D, in a pure platforming segment. That's it. Eggopus Rex is platforming at its greatest whilst riding a dinosaur! Oh, and to get there you have to go down a secret path and get carried away by a pterodactyl. That's the kind of secret I love! Bliss. Both Crash 1 and 2 had darkness stages and they didn't really do anything in particular to win me over. Bug Light, however, did. Both outside and inside the tombs of Egypt, transitioning seamlessly as you traverse some of the best design choices this game has to offer, all whilst trying to maintain your light. After the midpoint you see a never-ending route of nitros and free Aku Aku crates. Everyone knows what this means, and yes, it's as fun as it looks. Plus, this also contains the gem route onslaught that was in Crash 2. Challenging segments as well as bonkers ones. That is how you do a final level. All the bosses again. Oh yes, these bosses are the time travelers bollocks. We start off with Tiny. He decides to stab you. I assume any of the lions that miss you during this fight are devoured by our Lord Tiny for their inferior carnal ability to eat a bandicoot. Next up is Dingodile. It's a super fun boss with epic music, but unfortunately I prefer to skip the boss with a slide and a jump, purely because you can. Don't worry, he'll be a more worthy adversary in a sewer somewhere. Nefarious Trophy is the one behind the time travel shenanigans you've encountered and has travelled into the future to find a tuning fork which can shoot disintegrator beams. I feel like a ray gun would have sufficed, but whatever works, I guess. I love how he manipulates the field to stop him. A bit of a faux pas on his part, but still, this boss is a lot of fun. Engine received the biggest upgrade of all. His ship was weak to Wumpa Fruit, so we fixed that by building something that could annihilate the planet and all who oppose him. Fortunately, Coco seemed to be tinkering with her own planet-annihilating machine, and it's a battle of space lasers to the death. Awesome! Finally, Cortex in my favourite boss fight of the game, and maybe even the series. I love this fight. Aku Aku and Uka Uka are brawling it out in front of you in a controlled but almost clumsy looking fight, as if one of the two had spilled the other's beer and they were pissed off. Cortex will try and shoot you every so often and then lay down mines. Once the mines are down, try and hit Cortex into the centre panel which is opened up and he'll fall. It won't kill him and Uka Uka will be incredibly annoyed at his incompetence, but you win! Future Frenzy is so brilliant because it is actually completely messed up. It's your generic future scenario, giant buildings, UFO enemies, conveyor belts leading into gaps. Okay, this future doesn't seem safe at all. But more interestingly, is the engine logos everywhere. This implies that Engine has actually taken over the world at some point and succeeded. This is our future. We've lost. Maybe not this time, maybe not the next, but soon. Soon we will lose and he will take over civilization as we know it. Yeah, I know. I looked into this way too much. Toom Waiter. Yes, it's an amazing punny name, and it's also an amazing level. Water rises, and then the imaginary drains open, and it lowers. And then they clog up again, and the water rises, and then it lowers. It's a time puzzle platforming level to the extreme. Clever hazards to block your path, constantly becoming increasingly difficult. As a concept, it could fall into the trap of becoming somewhat repetitive, but it really doesn't. You also have the Skull and Crossbones route for the blue gem, which is a significantly harder challenge with this gimmick. It's a simply flawless, well-designed joy to play, and I love it. And that's the best way to end this series. With perfection. Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoyed the video. It is done. My top 10 favourite levels from the first 3 Crash games are finished. So yeah, there it is. Yeah, I'd like to know what your favourite levels are. I'd like to know what you'd like to see next from me. And also, what do you think of the haircut? I got a haircut about an hour before I recorded that intro. So yeah, it was a pretty new look. Literally very new. But yeah, so that's a thing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the videos. Not just this one, obviously the other two as well, because it was a lot of fun making them. This one was definitely the hardest to write, but it was a lot of fun. It was very weird because I hadn't played Crash 3 properly. And about that Crash 3 Let's Play that people keep asking about, I'm planning on doing a Crash 3 Versus at some point. So I'm not doing a Let's Play until, well, that will be the Let's Play, sort of. So, yeah. But anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.